Wow, wow, wow. Yep, it's not the best. Helmut does it better. Like he does like more the V10 of the Ferraris. But this one is the best. Well, admit it, you did it yourself or with your friends as well, for sure, right? I'm not a big F1 fan. Like, I wasn't a big F1 fan, but now I feel like I am, because last week I was in Monaco and I watched the Grand Prix historic. Basically, there are cars from 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, early 2000s. Actually, wait, I'm not sure about 90s, but early 2000s Ferraris, V10, Formula Ones, and when they pass through like a few meters away from you, it's a different experience than what you see on the video. Like on the video, you just see you just hear the sound. Like, I don't even know how to describe. You just hear it. But in real life, you hear it, plus you feel the vibrations in your ear. Not only in your ear, actually, depends on how close you are to the cars. You feel it in all your body. Like the place you sit, even it is kind of like vibrating. It might be also the excitement of other people or the smell and everything together. When you put all things together, I was like, wow, like what a crazy thing. And I didn't see the newest F1 cars, but my F1 fan friends, they all mentioned that the newer ones are losing the soul because of like the hybrid version with V6 engine, the sounds are less and they're too big, especially for Monaco, for example. You cannot pass each other probably in this street, right? But when I saw the 70s and 80s especially, these cars are raw. Like the sound is very nice, the smell, they are racing each other on this. It's not like it's just a showing off, like, hey, I have this car, look at my car. It's not like that. They're properly racing. At least the top 10, let's say, they're racing. The other ones are a little bit big gap in between, but there are even accidents. Kind of sad to see those cars getting destroyed, but also it's amazing to see they are really used properly. And wow. So while observing this, by the way, first of all, thank you to Dr. Wickenheiser and Helmut for inviting me. It's my first F1 experience and first time visiting Monaco, and combining this together is like it's amazing. One of the best car experiences I ever got, for sure, like no doubt. So what you see on the videos, even if the sound is like, it sounds very nice, it's, I would say, like 20%, maybe 10% or something between percent of the whole experience. The downside of being there is probably you cannot follow the whole race from one spot, like you cannot see the whole track, but there are monitors that you can follow. But for me, it was not about who won the race, who is like driving better or something. I was amazed by these machines, and I was also surprised. I was surprised by, like, in my perception, the reason I was not even following Formula One is like they all are similar cars. They look alike, only the colors and the, like, of course, the graphics, the design, visual design of them are different. But the cars looked very technical because they are, obviously, they are engineered like on 110%. So it's very limited. So the design look alike, to me at least. I didn't observe them detailed. But when I saw the 70s and 80s especially, the cars are different than each other. They are not like the same car but different color, but they are completely different. Some of them are like very soft surfaces, some of them are very sharp, some of them are longer, some of them are shorter, some of them have detached front spoiler, front wing, some of them have, you can definitely see the differences, not only the color wise, but on the overall design of it. So I guess it was more experimental era of Formula One, and this made me very surprised in a very positive way. Oh, by the way, this is also the cap from Monaco, because first day was very sunny. I got some sunburns, then Helmut, my kind friend, bought me this cap, but then we didn't see the sun again. So I'm using it for this video. But anyway, sorry for mumbling if it's boring for you. It is not boring for me at all. It is super exciting. It is that exciting that I decided to make a project out of it. So I'm gonna make a Formula One car. It might be technically wrong. It is not like the most engineered car or anything. It's like a concept form study for a Formula One car, let's put it this way. And I decided to document it in a way that I can guide you how I approach to projects. So the first step is briefing. So in this video, I'm gonna talk about which direction that I wanna go with this project. Because when you just say, I'm gonna design an F1 car, it is way too open. Like the first thing comes to your mind and first thing comes to my mind might be completely different. That's why I'm making this video, to walk you through the process, what happened in my mind, which I guess you already understood a bit. Like I was inspired by 70s and 80s, but I'm going to show you some examples from that era to make it more understandable what I have in mind. Because if somebody told me this last week, like 80s F1 cars, I would be like, okay, like I had no idea. I was not it's interesting that I was not following. Like my brother used to watch F1 and I was watching with him when I was younger, early 2000s, and it turned out it was like the golden era of the modern Formula One. Anyway, let's jump into it. So the first thing you need in a project is a brief. Well, honestly, this is at least the way everybody says. And if you are in a company, of course, they give you a brief and then you start. Or if you are in the school, you got the brief and then you start. But when it's a personal project, it's a little bit different. As you see, it is totally my now passion, my interest, and that's why I want to do this project. But I didn't sit and think first about the brief. I started sketching, like I have a couple of sketches already. It will be the next video's topic, like sketching the cars. But I was sketching kind of random. Like one car looks like from 80s, one car looks from the modern era. So it's more like a random sketching just to put this excitement on paper. It is one thing. But then if I want to make a structured project out of it, then I need a proper brief. So it's not like always given by someone else. Sometimes you need to create your own brief. And let's jump into it. So here we are on the Google Images, and I started by the 50s F1 cars because on this event in Monaco also we saw the 50s F1 cars driving around as well. And it looks completely different than the F1 starting from 60s and until today because the engine was on the front. And here's a little disclaimer, I don't know much about like the technical packaging and so on, but just by observing you can understand and you can at least guess very simply because they're very complicated cars. But also the main elements, I think, just by logic, you can guess. Here we have a very long bonnet and not much on the back. So it's like a front engine layout. So basically we have the engine here, then the driver. And the shape, the form is very simple. It's like a basic cylinder and four wheels extending. And the driver is way sitting on the back. Like let's see this example. So the driver is on the back. It's like a huge cylindrical shape. And more or less that's it. And then the next step, on 60s, they changed the layout to rear engine. I don't know if it's rear mid, but rear engine. Look at the first image is the Lotus, which I have right here. Okay, I'm not sure if it's visible, but I got this Hot Wheels. I just had to open the box. It's from 60s, 67 Lotus Type 49. And I can also see it here. It's also funny that I don't have much Formula One cars. I have a couple of them back in Turkey, but here I don't have them. And I guess I'm gonna buy some Hot Wheels or small scaled F1 cars. But anyway, if you see this, or let's go on the image, I think they call it the cigar shape. Again, like a main fuselage. I heard this word before. I don't even know if it's proper way to say it, but it's like the main body, which is like a cylindrical cigar shape. And then we have four wheels attached to it. And the engine is on the back. So engine, the driver, probably the legs are until here or something. And here on the front, I see the air intake, so maybe there's like radiators and stuff to cool down the air, and maybe there's like an airways going to the engine, or maybe it's just aerodynamic purpose, or maybe the air is coming here and then going out from the sides. I'm not totally sure, but it's like a very raw machine. However, it's not the most exciting form yet to me because it's like a very simple cylindrical shape on 60s. And when we go to 70s, now it starts to be very interesting because now we have like I don't know, we even have a 6-wheeler version. For example, this one, Niki Lauda car, I saw this on this event. Very interesting air intake area. But anyway, back to the main form. Like what I'm focusing on is the main form. Let's see some example. Let's go with this one. Now we have again the engine on the back. We have the driver sitting area. Let's call it this way. The nose is going down. And then we have this extra volume on the sides, which is, as I guess, and most probably that's the reason, it's the air intake area, the radiators to cool down the engine extra. I want to see some more angles, like this is also from 70s. You see the driver is sitting. So we have this main let's call it the main body here, where the driver and then the engine is on the back. And in the side, as you see, we have the two, okay, this is a better angle. So this is the main cigar shape from the 60s. Of course, design is also changed, but on the side we have the air intake. So the car now got more wider on the back. They started to add this rear spoiler in the front one. Let's see another example. And you can see the cars are totally different. Like the driver is very sitting on the front, not unlike the 60s. I think on the 60s, the driver is more back. On 70s, we pushed the driver a little bit further and we added basically the side volumes. Let's go to the 80s. I think it started to be more technical and a bit less experimental, because on 70s cars, I was asking Helmut all the time, like, hey, what is this car? What is this car? Like, you see this black one, like the nice, like the cockpit area blending into the side intakes, or like the white one with a very sharp line going down on the back on the side. So it was possible to differentiate the cars just by their form and design. On 80s, still it is possible. Still, they are not like the exactly same car or so on. Like we can even see it here directly. If you ask me the difference, just by observation, probably the nose on all of them got a bit more pointy. And the driver is, if I see this as an example, the driver is again pushed forward. We have a big engine area, long rear part. But when we start 90s, I guess this is where the cars started to look alike. I might be wrong. Again, I'm not the expert. I'm just quite new to Formula One. So it's very exciting for me. But I remember these ones, the Ferraris. Many other ones look similar. But the layout is the same. We have the driver, pointy nose, still going until down, and it's still closed here. And then we have the engine and the air intakes on the side. But when we start 2000s, I guess this is the time. If you look at it from the side view, the nose started to be not going directly down. I guess it's more longer and it's going up here. So there's like a gap here. You can see the other side. And then the spoiler is going down around it. And again, we have the side intake, but we have more wings and more aerodynamics happening. And I guess the car is longer wheelbase overall. And the driver is a little bit more in the center. If you look at proportionally, that will be the driver. And if you look at the different teams, different cars, I guess they all are following the same strategy. Maybe it's the rules and regulations, or maybe it's just to be totally efficient. There's no more space for experimenting, I guess. That might be the reason. But then when we go to 2010s, I guess it's even more and more like being similar cars to each other. Or I should observe them better. Maybe I should go to an F1, like the current F1 race, and I can see the differences in a better way. And 2020s are the similar and way more aero everywhere happening. And there's this halo thing to protect the driver. So it's also something newer. But other than that, as the overall form, I guess there's no big difference. But it's bigger. How bigger? Let me show you this video that I saw on Instagram, and I asked Helmut, is it even real? Because look, this is the current and this is from the early 2000s, I guess. And look at the size difference. I was like, is it real, or is it maybe like there's maybe a trick or something? But looks like they're just very much bigger now today. Even if the overall form is similar to each other, the dimensions changed a lot. So I wanted to go through all these things to come to my point about the brief. As I'm not an engineer and as I will not have the best aerodynamic possibilities, or maybe you don't need to be an engineer to do the research and learn. If you are more in technical side, of course you can focus on this type of approach. But to me, I want to get into more F1 aesthetics, or like a form experiment study. Let's call it this way. So it will be a concept F1 car, and I'm way more inspired from 70s and 80s. Again, it might be just because I saw them in real life, but also I think they were more experimental. There were many different forms happening, like different air intakes, different sizes, different forms. So my brief will be, like F1 car concept, F1 studies, design studies from inspired by 70s or an 80s. So that will be my main brief, and my sketches will be more focusing on that area. And I'm gonna start sketching. I already started sketching, like this is from more the newer era, but I have some, like the first sketches were, it's also actually a good way to start sketching F1 cars going historically, like 60s, very simple. Here we go. And then 70s, you just add 2 volumes on the side. And then 80s, you can start experimenting as. So that's how I started sketching as well, which helped me a lot, because sketching an F1 car on perspective while all the wheels are exposed, depends on the angle, might be quite tricky. And that's why on the next video, I'm going to show you how I approach sketching them and where the design direction will be. Thanks for watching until here. If you follow me already, maybe you will remember that I had a Porsche project, my dream Porsche. And the main problem there was the briefing. I was like, I'm gonna make my dream Porsche, but I didn't limit myself. Should it be like in a more Carrera GT way hypercar? Or should it be more like a Cayman in more track focus or something? And I was kind of lost, and I still didn't finish this project, and I'm quite discouraged to go on. But it will not repeat on this F1 concept car. We're gonna do it step by step together. Now we know the brief. And if you are new to the channel, it's all about car design. I'm glad that you are here, and you can take a look at my online courses at berkaplan.com to get more confident with your car design skills. All right, time to go. Okay, I will stop doing that. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.